Hey guys, good morning and welcome into WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time, and I understand there aren't as many Puck Time episodes as there usually are, but that's because there's just one series left. This is the Stanley Cup Finals, of course, and we are now on to Game 3 as the series switches to Florida, and they find themselves down 2-0, look to tie things up, protect home ice, and get a win here in Florida tonight. Carm, it has been an unbelievable series, an action-packed one, and although the goaltenders were a big story going into the series, we've certainly seen quite a few goals and lots of high dangerous chances, but looking forward to tonight's game, but just want your thoughts briefly on last game and anything you have going tonight for WagerTalk customers.
Yeah, that was quite the. I had the over, and I just came right back with the over. I said it kind of resembled to me that Boston series with Florida, where Boston ran over them in 3 of those games, but Florida somehow won that series. They were able to eventually adjust when they were down 3-1, and it started them on a roll of where they won 12 of their next 13 games. But this series. It's a little different. I said Vegas is playing so well right now, and that first period over continues to cash. It in Vegas games, I think it's 5, 6, 7 in a row where the over 1.5 is cashed. They're making you pay a little bit more juice on it now, Andrew. I think it's up to like $1.30, $1.35. But just Florida just hasn't played their game, and I don't know if it's as much Florida hasn't played their game or that Vegas is so much better that they have enforce their will on Florida. You have to give the Vegas team credit, and we said it on the last show and the one previous to that. It's one of the reasons why they won the West. So we'll see what happens tonight. We talked about in the last series in the conference finals about the Dallas Stars coming home, and Game 3 was pretty much a make or break for them. And we remember what happened in that one. Vegas, 3 goals in the first 7 or 8 minutes. Jamie Benn, 5-minute major and a game misconduct. And Vegas took a 3-0 lead in there, but Dallas eventually got themselves back into that series before losing at home. This is what Florida has to do. Yes, it's a make or break for Florida tonight, but they have to find a way to get back into this series, Andrew. And they have to take the game to Vegas. They have to. Vegas has what? There's been 16 goals in this series. Vegas has 14 of them, I think. It's unreal. Or they have 12 of them. It's unreal. Vegas is just playing some very good hockey right now. If you're an over better, you're loving it. If you're a props better, you're also loving it, because a lot of those point props are cashing, just like the Marcia show. He seems to be getting points, Andrew, pretty much at will. If there's a goal scored, Marcia show's in on it.
Absolutely. Carm, we say so many things here on Puck Time, and I wish I bet all of them the split second that I mentioned them. And one of them, of course, I kept on talking about was Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe. And then I was speaking about getting Marchessault at 13-1. Then he was 7-1. And I had to jump in on that one because the guy is now the favorite to win the Conn Smythe here in the Stanley Cup Finals. But you said it best. Florida has to take it to them. So we'll pull up the odds here. Let's bring it up. Game 3. And you now have a different favorite with the home ice being switched. Florida, -120. Vegas, even money, +100. Puck line, -1.5. That's +210. And no more 5.5s. We are welcoming the 6s to the Stanley Cup Finals here. Carm, there's so much to mention, but like you said, I believe now it's 6 of last 7 games involving the Vegas Golden Knights have gone over 1.5 goals in the first period. It might even be 7 of their last 8, but we'll go with 6 of last 7. And the funny thing is, the first 2 games of this series, let's be honest here, I was on both of those, but we needed a late goal in both those to cash it. It's not about how you cash it. It's about if you cashed it. But, getting a goal in the dying few minutes of that first period to cash that over 1.5. And, of course, well, you had a great pick there with your over in the game overall. I wanted to mention that I've been saying this over the past few days. I believe that Adin Hill is not getting as much respect and love that he deserves because of how many goals his team is scoring. if this series is a series of Vegas scoring 3 or 4 goals and winning games that way, then we're looking at a complete different picture. And all of these paddle and glove saves that Aiden Hill is making really is probably the story of the series. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's clear cut. There's nothing to say about it besides this. Vegas's best players have been better than Florida's best players. And that is plain and simple. Nobody can deny that. And I got to give credit to Jack Eichel after he got steamrolled by Matthew Tkachuk. He comes back in the game. Nobody makes a big deal out of it. They said it was a clean hit. We're good to go again. Now, I took Tkachuk over 3.5 shots on goal at even money last game. The guy, Carm, he ended up with 22 penalty minutes after having a crap load of penalty minutes the previous game as well. He still gets a goal and 4 shots. So what I ask you is, if the guy gets 22 penalty minutes and a goal and 4 shots, what's he going to do tonight if he only gets 2 penalty minutes? Because he's still playing extremely well, and he hasn't played his best hockey yet in this series. But what do you think about just continuing to play these star players? You know, I'm a guy that loves to look down the depth charts and kind of throw some names out that people might not recognize in certain situations. But in this series, it's the battle of the top guns. And so far, Vegas is dominating that.
Yeah, it's tough, Andrew, because if you're laying minimal juice, it's one thing. You can go back to the well a couple of times, and when I talk about like minimal juice, you're talking about like some of these shot props that are 2.5 minus 120 or 3.5 minus 110 or even at even money. You can take them because if you feel strong about them because you're not hurting your bankroll. At the end of the day, you lose some of these minus 180s and minus 190s, and it's gonna destroy your bankroll over time. It's the money management part of it and having some juice tolerance. Um, you have to. We're both figuring that Florida is going to come out and play better tonight. Whether that happens or not, and we talked about Game 3. I get Game 3 of the Dallas series was a little bit different because of a major penalty, and it was done at the end of the first period, pretty much 10 minutes into the game. Uh, you don't see that happening. It's just, can Florida at home now with that last change enforce their will on the Vegas Golden Knights and play defense? They haven't been able to do it right now. And I get why they pulled Bobrovsky out of that game. You had to, because the team was not playing good in front of them. And it was no fault of his, although he let in, what was it, 3 or 4 goals. He let those goals in. You got to get him out of there. Get him out of there. Reset. Come back for Game 3. You're getting blown out. Come back for Game 3. A loss is a loss, regardless of whether it's 3-2 in overtime or 7-2. It's one game lost. They have a chance now with 2 games at home to try and not flip the series, but get back into the series, because they need to win both games, or this is going to become the gentleman's sweep, where the Vegas Golden Knights win 1 of 2, get back home and hoist the cup on home ice. That's just going to happen unless Florida wins both games here. So they faced elimination before against the Bruins. They're down 3-1. And they ran off 3 straight games. They're going to have to do something similar here, but they've got to win tonight. They can't go down 3-0. And we want to believe that they're not going to go down 3-0, Andrew. And that's why we start to think about, let me play Barkov. Let me play Verhage. Let me play Matthew Tkachuk. They're shot props. But even winning, those might not even come in, right? So it's a delicate balance, Andrew, and I get it. And that's why I'm circling back. I'm going full circle here. Just don't lay the juice, guys. Don't lay the juice unless you don't care about your bankroll, right? So with that, Andrew, I want to throw a couple things at you before we get into the game, but about the game or about the series. So you always talked about the gentleman's sweep. For those who are unfamiliar with the gentleman's sweep, it's like literally you win 4 games. The home team or the team with home ice advantage wins the series 4-1, winning the last game, of course, on home ice. So if you like Vegas to win one of these next 2 games in Florida and then win on home ice, the correct series on Vegas is 4-1 plus 240. Now, would you take that, number one? And then number 2, Andrew, this is a crazy one, and this is at DK as well too. We've had 16 goals in this series. The over/under for goals in this series is at 37.5. Now, I assume that's because they figure Florida is going to win games at home, and this series is not going to be done in 5 games. But that you need 22 goals for that to hit. And if you like the Vegas Golden Knights and you think Vegas has a chance of sweeping this or winning in 5, do they get to over 37.5 goals? And the juice is minus 110 on going over 37.5, minus 120 on under 37.5 total goals in the series. So let me throw those two at you.
As far as the gentleman's sweep, that's probably what I'm looking at right now, because this is what the way I look at it is that Florida, there's 2 ways you can look at this. There's number 1, Florida has competed and been right there with the Florida Panthers through both games so far, and they haven't gotten the result. But the other way you can look at it is they haven't really been dominated through the play. They've only been dominated on the score sheet, so it wouldn't shock me tonight if Florida won 5-2 themselves. But it comes to a point where we have to recognize Adin Hill is playing well, and Vegas is responding with every big save Adin Hill creates and makes. They're coming back and scoring a goal on the other end. Having said that, I do lean towards that gentleman's sweep, but at the same time, I do not expect this goal-scoring parade to slow down by any means. I don't think that it's possible for us to see a low-scoring, tight game at this point, especially with all the penalty minutes we're seeing, the fast break 2-on-1, 3-on-1 chances. These goaltenders have had to make phenomenal saves throughout the playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals so far. It would not surprise me for tonight's game to just completely be opened up, except for this time, instead of Vegas doing all the scoring, Florida to contribute to this scoring as well. And I find it so interesting with the first period overs, the number went from 120 to 125 to 130, and now we're almost seeing at some places 135. But I like that over with total goals in the series, Carm, because I feel like Florida hasn't even pulled their weight yet as far as that's concerned. And we're already on track to go over that number if we keep on going here. Of course, we need some games, so we need Florida to win one probably in order to hit that wager. But I'll take the over with you on that one. I do like that one quite a bit. I wanted to mention that Florida 0 for 7 this series so far on the power play in the special teams. They have not been able to convert. One thing that I've noticed, it feels to me like Florida is being a little bit too fancy, looking for that perfect goal, getting away from their identity. I mean, this Florida Panthers team, how did they get here against the Bruins, the Leafs, Hurricanes? By scoring the not so nice goals, right? Scoring those playoff goals, Carm. I feel like they've gotten away from it. Meanwhile, the Vegas Knights are actually scoring some of those goals themselves, you know, the hard-nosed goals, the goals around the net, in the crease type of goals. I think at home, it'll inspire Florida, and they're going to get back to that type of hockey tonight. So, long-winded answer to your question. I expect the goals to continue in this series. So I'm not sure about the gentleman's sweep, but I'll look for some goals.
All right. And while you were going through all of that, you mentioned Vegas could very well win tonight 5-2. 5-2 exact score, Andrew, is 20-1 plus 2,000. So throw some of that Andrew McInnes pizza money on that bet there. 20-1. You never know, Andrew.
What about Florida? What's Florida 5-2?
Sorry, Florida. No, Florida. Sorry, Florida 5-2. Florida 5-2.
Okay.
Is 20-1. The Vegas 5-2 is 22-1. So not bad bets. So
not too bad.
Those are like, you know, come Super Bowl time where you have like 32 different prop bets. I go nuts with the props at Super Bowl time. So you can do that with these and toss a little bit of money. But again, it's about protecting your bankroll at the end of the day. Andrew, you know, when I look at this game and, you know, and try and break it down, my thought is this is again, and you can look at it and you can call it these almost like the square play, but you got to figure Florida is going to be better. I don't know what happened to this team, whether it was that time off. I didn't think the time off would be that much. And I thought, if anything, Maybe the first game would be a little loose, but then I saw the first game and I thought to myself, they look fine. Vegas just looks better. And I'm just going to come back with the over in game two, which is what I did. Um, I have to think Florida's, well, when you lose 7-2, you're gonna be better the next game unless you get completely blown out on home ice. But I think the line changes are an important one here. I think of back in front of your home crowd, and I think they know that if they win tonight, they get back into this series. You know, when you look at it, it's why I think taking Florida, the first period, Florida is minus 120. It's similar to what the game line is. You got to figure if they're going to push back, it's going to be in the first period. And that's the same angle, the same thought I had in game three in the Dallas one, and it didn't work out for obviously for different reasons in that one with dumb penalties. But this Florida team has to be better, and I expect them to be better tonight. And I think taking the first period play here is a good one. What happens there on out will remain to be seen, but Florida has to grab the game and Vegas by the neck in the first period without taking dumb penalties. The Chuck has to be better. He has been unhinged in both games. He's trying to be the leader of that team, but being the leader of the team isn't taking 10-minute misconducts. And they were handing them out like Oprah handed out cars to everybody in her audience. They were just, you get a 10, you get a 10, you get a 10. Everyone was getting 10s in that game. Let these guys play. Call the stuff that needs to be called, but let these guys play the game. No one's tuning in to watch the referees. We're tuning in to watch the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. I'm going to take Florida first period, Andrew.
Florida first period, Carm. I'm right there with you. I think that the first period is super important for this team. And let's not forget, they have scored a goal in the first period. It was in the first game, and it was actually a shorthanded goal. They're creating plenty of chances. Getting the crowd into it early and getting that lead is very, very important. I will say, though, I like to try and stick to my guns and not go back on previous statements, but I have to almost retract something I said on the last show to you. And that statement was that if Florida wins, it's going to be an under. Because I don't think that Florida is going to be able to score 2 goals and win this game. Maybe not even 3 goals. I was taking a look at the team totals, and the price just wasn't there for the 2.5, and then the 3.5 was there, but it was big plus money. But I said to myself, if you like the over 3.5 team total for Florida, don't you just like the over in the full game? Because Vegas is probably going to get a few themselves, and that's kind of what my thought process was here. I like Florida in the first period to get off to a really good start. And I have been betting the first period overs religiously. But I think in general, I like the full game over. I like there to be the goals to continue here in game 3. The only thing different I expect from game 2 is that Florida actually contributes. Vegas got the total over on their own last game, Carm. We didn't even need Florida to show up if you like the over. And so you and I are both happy about that. But it's very important that Florida gets off to a good start. We can go into it, I guess, Carm, but I guess I'll just say it that is our bet together for the charity challenge. Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But I wanted to, because you talked about team totals, so I wanted to talk about that just like briefly. And the thing is, this is with only one game, when it's a full slate of games, you can pass on something because the price isn't there. And you look at the team totals for both these teams, it is 2.5, but the books are juicing it. They're making them 160, 170. Like the Vegas one, I think is at like 170 or 160 at one of the books. And I'm seeing Florida is over 2.5 minus 180. They haven't hit 3 goals in either of the first 2 games. I get it. They're now on home ice, and you would think that they're going to score at least 3, but they juice these to the point where you take them, and if it doesn't hit, you're damaging your bankroll, number one. And then people just want to bet. So they're like, I'm going to take it regardless. And the books are getting the better of you on it. They're getting the better of you on a line that probably should be minus 140, minus 150 is now minus 180. And they're forcing you to lay that VIG. So find other bets, find something else. Again, don't put it at risk. And I'm going to mention how you can find something else with like Florida team total, which is at minus 180, I believe, right now. But as far as the charity challenge, Andrew, and I know we hit very easily our charity challenge last time. The charity challenge, we're both on the same play, and it's going to be the Florida first period. So that account is moving up nicely. Let's try and hit 1K with it, and we can probably get there with a few more of these double wins. But we're going to take Florida first period money line minus 120. Of course, if it's tied after one, it is a push because that's a two-way bet on that line. Vegas is even money, I believe, but we're going to lay minus 120 on this, Andrew, and hopefully we can cash and keep this going. I want to basically divvy that up between four charities and send some cash out.
That would be awesome. I look forward to it, and let's keep cashing these tickets. And the better we do, the more we can do. So, Carm, I'm with you on that first period. Whether or not they win the game, we'll make that clear. Whether or not they win the game, we're looking for a good effort in the first period. That's all we're asking of this Florida Panthers team. Show us a good effort in the first period. Get out on top. And reminder, guys, for everybody at home, there's the three-way first period that we bet all the time during the season. That's the Don Buster special. This is just the two-way money line. So if it's 1-1 after the first period, it's a void, it's a push, you get your money back. But of course, if it's 2-1, you cash your ticket, and that is a winner. Carm, I wanted to ask you more about what you were going to speak about there, because when I saw you put this into our company group chat, I was completely shocked, and I didn't really understand, and I'm not afraid to admit when I don't understand how something is working here. You found excellent odds for the amount of goals that Aiden Hill will let in compared to the team total goals for Florida. But I thought the odds, the difference between that team total, it seems almost ridiculous how much better the price is. Can you go into that for us?
Yeah, so we're expecting Florida to play better tonight. Whether you do or don't, we don't know. They could lose the game 5-4, and this bet, which I'm talking about, gets there. Vegas isn't going to pull Aiden Hill unless he looks completely terrible, and he has not. The guy is playing phenomenal. So the Aiden Hill goals against is 2.5 minus 140. I would rather play that at minus 140 on him to allow 3 goals or more than to take Florida team total over 2.5 goals and lay minus 180. I get it. There's that slim chance that he was to get injured and have to leave the game. The slim chance that he allows 2 goals and they pull him. And I could not see that happening at all. You're not going to pull a guy when he lets in, even if he lets in 2 bad ones. But if you're going to bet the Florida team total, you might as well take the Aiden Hill goals over 2.5 at minus 140 and save yourself 40 cents of juice. If you can save 40 cents of juice long term, and again, there's always that slim possibility that something like that happens. But I just that is trying to forecast someone getting injured in a game is ridiculous. When you're playing props, it's about finding the best number, and I think it's a different way of playing the Florida team total and minimizing the juice, dropping it from 180 down to 140. And that's the best way I can explain it. If it makes sense to you guys in the chat, let me know. If it doesn't, also let me know.
And you're talking to me too, Carm, because I think that is that is a really good way to get a good price out of that. So hats off to you for finding that. And shout out to everybody in the live chat. We've got Russell, Nebraska Knows, Jeffrey, Dave. We had so many great people here commenting. And Dave Redling says, how many assists tonight for Jack Eichel? And I love that comment because I briefly mentioned it last show, but is the value gone, I guess? And everybody uses this word value differently in the sports betting world, but he's only plus 100 now to record an assist. Jack Eichel is some guy people thought was a cocky player, a goal scorer, a guy that loved to make it about himself. Not since he's been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. He was that player for Buffalo because he had no help over there. This guy is averaging an assist per game and over his last 4 or 5 games here. But at the plus 100, to answer your question, Dave, I can't bet a guy to get an assist at plus 100. It's just not enough odds. It's not good enough for me to get there to the window. So, Carm, any thoughts on that? And just any other props you wanted to mention before we jump into the best bet segment?
Yeah, a couple of them. And first of all, a quick happy birthday to Alex B. Smith. You guys know Alex, another hockey guy. It's his birthday today. So drop him a happy birthday. Andrew, when you look at props, and I'm wondering, and once the playoffs are over, we're going to hear something. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with Aaron Ekblad, if he's injured in any way possible, because this is a guy who used to regularly go over those shots on goal props, and he's gone 11 straight games under 2.5, under 3 shots on goal. And like even for points, but you've got to lay juice on him. And this is the problem again. The under 2.5 on Ekblad is just juice too high. The under on Ekblad, to get no points tonight is also juiced badly, and he's gone. He's only scored, or he's only registered a point in 4 of his last 11 games. There's definitely something wrong with him. Montour is getting more of that, and that's why Montour, you've got to pay for the shots on goal props for Montour as well, too. And it's and they just keep pushing him higher and higher. So those are a couple of props I wanted to mention. If you're not juice tolerant, that you might want to take advantage of those ones. I'm going to go into my show best bet now, which we just discussed already. But anyways, 5 plays up tonight in NHL. There are 4 props, 1 play on the game as well too. The Champions League package is still up at WagerTalk. It is, that final goes on Saturday. Inter Milan versus Man City. You can get it for $1. I put it up for $1 every year as a thank you to all of my clients who follow along during the soccer season and in general. So you can get that over at WagerTalk for $1. There are 10 prop plays attached to that. So if you pick that up, you get 11 plays, a play on the game and on the game winner, and then 10 individual prop bets. Let's see if we can hit something. It's almost like the Super Bowl. I'm going prop crazy and I love it. So you can pick those up at WagerTalk. The 3-day all access package will get you there. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday gets everything that is released. As far as my show best bet, Andrew, it is the Aiden Hill over 2.5 goals against tonight at minus 140. I think it's the better bet to take as opposed to taking the Florida team total that is juiced way too high. So Aiden Hill to allow more than 2.5 goals, minus 140 is my show best bet. And again, thanks to everyone in our chat. Really love you guys coming in and commenting each and every day.
Love that play, Carm. Best of luck on that one. I'll be tailing you on that one. And of course, we are on the same page with the Charity Challenge play. Guys, for me, really looking forward to tonight, actually, because, of course, we have the hockey game. But, of course, it is game 1, day 1 of the Canadian Football League season starting tonight. I do have a play going, and I'm looking forward to it big time. You can also just get my week 1 report. And if you buy that, you'll be getting all of my future wagers as well. You can use the promo code AM3 to get 3 days, all access, every sport for the price of 1. That's $39. Or if you want to join me on all of my CFL football plays, CFL 100 will take $100 off all of my CFL action. But you heard a lot of what I like in hockey on the show here today, but I will have plays up as well in the NHL. My best bet's going to be the over on a shots on goal prop for Carter Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe actually has dealt with some personal stuff over the past few games. His wife went into labor. So he is a father now, and he's been hopping on planes, going back and forth from Vegas back home. Now he's settled in. He's in Florida. I'm sure that has been a small distraction, even though he probably wouldn't admit that it has been dealing with some personal things. So I look for him to get back on track. He is a big-time shooter for them, and it can't be just Tkachuk and Sam Bennett carrying the load. It has to be some of these other guys as well. Look for Verhaeghe to get back in action, and we're getting plus money with him over 3.5 shots on goal tonight for my best bet here on Puck Time. So, guys, quick recap here. We take a look at all of our plays that we have going. We are on the same page with the first period money line with the Florida Panthers. We're looking at Aiden Hill over 2.5, goals against at -240. And the best bet for me, Carter Verhaeghe over 3.5 shots on goal +125. You can find both of us at WagerTalk.com. And WagerTalk today is coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern time with Prez and Teddy. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
June just got better with this 30-day $198 all access special. A 7-day all access package at WagerTalk.com is $99, but why pay full price when you can jump on board for some summer savings? With our June kickoff special, you'll get 30 days of every play from your favorite handicapper for only $198. This comes out to only $6.63 per day to bet alongside your favorite handicapper for the next 30 days. That's right, for the same price as 2 $99 weekly packages, you get over 4 weeks of action. The NBA Finals, the NHL Finals, 30 days of MLB, the WNBA, plus golf, including the Memorial Tournament, UFC, soccer, and tennis. If your favorite handicap releases a play in that sport, you will get it, including top-rated 5% selections normally priced at $35. No coupon is needed, and there is no limit to the number of handicappers you can choose. Just head to their homepage and add their June kickoff special to your cart.